It's now time for Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison from the Newnan City Church. Conversation with Christian leaders in the community where faith really does work. Here's your host this morning of Faith Works, Pastor Jimmy Ellison.
Good morning, Newnan. This is Jimmy Ellison. You're listening to Faith Works, where each week we have conversations with leaders in our community who are demonstrating that faith does indeed work. And I am thrilled to have my good friend Dana Brennan on the show today. Dana is with Operation Mobilization, and I know we're going to hear a lot about that in the show, but man, welcome, Dana. So thank you for coming down to Newnan.
Glad to be on, man. Glad to be hanging out with you, Jim.
How long have we known each other? I was thinking about that.
Yep, good question. I think I came down to City of Refuge for a tour. Goodness, that probably was 2014.
14?
When I first came on at Passion City Church.
Yeah.
As pastor on the staff team there, and I think pretty early on, I knew I needed to meet Jim Ellison, hear more about City of Refuge and what was going on at Rattle and everything else that was stirring back then.
Yeah, well, Passion was such a and is such a influence in Atlanta, and I remember thinking, man, the Passion City team is here, and meeting you and meeting the other leaders of that great faith group, it was just really a highlight for me in Atlanta, getting to connect with you guys. And y'all been Passion was so good to Rattle for the book bags. I mean, that was something that was birthed out of that we look forward to that every year.
Sure.
But you didn't start off in ministry full time.
No,
you didn't have a call at age 12 and said, God used me, I'm going to be used in the kingdom.
Or if I did, I didn't hear it.
You didn't, or maybe you didn't. You were not listening like you ought to be listening.
That's right.
So tell me, where did you grow up? Tell us a little about your upbringing. Were you raised in the church?
Sure.
Tell us a little about your upbringing.
Yeah, Georgia kid, through and through.
All right.
My father's an Irish Catholic from Brooklyn, New York, and he met a Southern Belle, charismatic Christian lady. So they
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
So two great parents, only child, actually adopted. My parents couldn't have children. I was adopted
And
at 2 months old.
what town was this in?
Douglasville.
Really?
Yeah, man. Out past Six Flags, D-ville.
How?
That's right.
D-ville.
My parents are still there.
Wow, that is outstanding. Where'd you go to high school?
Alexander High School.
Wow.
Yep.
That's great. So you went to high school there. What happened after high school?
Well, in high school was, just part of my story, Jim. I think you know some of this, but I really started to lose my way in high school pretty quickly. By the time I graduated high school, I'd already been arrested 4 times, I think, and a couple DUIs as I went on to college. And I went to North Georgia College up in Dahlonega in the military program. That's what my dad and the judge kind of worked out to get some discipline in my life.
So how'd that turn out?
Well, it was good for about a year.
Okay.
All the rules,
They have some rules up there, don't they?
Wake up at a certain time and go to bed at a certain time, and I did okay for a little bit. And actually, I did excel in the military part of the program. And
I bet.
And
you're a disciplined guy.
I am. Through and through.
So that helps. If you're going to go military, being disciplined is a good thing.
Disciplined guy, but also a very disciplined partier.
Yeah.
Had a very strict schedule that I needed to be. Having that type of lifestyle. And so I just fed into it. So it wasn't long before I started getting in some of the same circles I was running in high school, and ended up failing at college. Everything. Kicked out of the military program, kicked out of fraternity, and then I just lived up in Dahlonega and was selling drugs. And I went from kind of being a social party guy to where the addiction really took over. And I was comfortable being by myself, doing drugs, selling drugs, being paranoid. And then finally the opportunity came for me to come back home in an unfortunate way. My mom got cancer, and my dad got activated in the military because he was a National Guard guy. And so it also gave me, in my head, I was thinking, well, if I can get out of this, then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because I can walk from this. I'm okay. I got this. Faith, was really far from me at this time. And so I came back home, and it didn't take but just a couple weeks where I started connecting with all my high school friends.
Really?
We're doing the exact same thing that they were doing, 6-7 years before.
Wow.
And got right back into the same circles.
Wow.
And then things got worse for me. That's where heroin entered the picture, and I started shooting up everything I could get my hands on.
How's your
Just
mom?
a mess.
What was your mom doing? Was she
Yeah.
doing treatments at this time? Was she
Yeah.
in recovery?
Yeah, she was in recovery.
Okay.
And I wasn't near as present as I should have been, which
Yeah.
still breaks my heart
Yeah.
to this day,
Yeah.
because she was very present in my life.
Yeah.
Never quit praying. Never kept going to the cross for
The prayers of a mother.
Oh,
Oh man.
It's serious.
Wow.
I mean, she had her spot in the closet that she just went to, and she said, God, I'm not going to let go. I can't enable anymore. And we're going to have to lock the locks. We're going to have to change the locks. We're going to have to, put things away where he can't, because I was pawning some of their stuff, and it was just a mess. I mean, they had to call the police on me a couple times, and rehab wasn't working. I mean, it was just like that show Intervention. I can hardly watch that show without feeling just the
Too many memories.
yeah, too many memories.
Yeah.
Oh, just what did I put my parents through? So, just where God really entered that story is I didn't feel comfortable walking in the doors of the local church because I had this, oh man, I hated it. And I know there's so many people like this that thought you have to be perfect to walk in those doors. And I'm far from perfect, so I can't walk in those doors. I just can't do it. Too many people know me from all the wrong reasons. But there's a food pantry that church ran, and two things went through my mind. One, I needed food because I'm going from couch to couch. And two, I could walk in that day and I could look at all the people there. It's just a poor mindset and say, well, they're the ones that really need help. I'm okay. Like if I wanted to turn this thing around, I know I'm 30. I know I've been arrested 17 times, overdosed twice on heroin and cocaine. I know I could turn it around. That's really what I thought. So I could go in there that day and point at other people and then go and report back to my family and say, look, those are the folks that you need to be more focused on them. But it's crazy. I went that day, and that day changed my life at that food pantry because I saw people that, maybe society would say, you've lost it all. You should feel depressed. You should feel down and out, and whatever. But instead, those people had been coming to that food pantry for a long time, had grown in their faith, had grown in their community and relationships. They loved to be at this place. It wasn't just an exchange of food. It was like a whole thing where you came in and got prayed with and went to this little pastoral counseling area and just this whole customer service thing. And so, and there they were. They had joy. They had hope for their future.
Yeah.
They were excited to be alive. They were loving on me.
They had
were giving me
Jesus.
hugs. They had Jesus.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I was like, what is it that you have that I don't have? 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't feel what you're feeling.
Right.
And then there's these other people that are running this thing, volunteers and such, that are loving on everyone in that room relentlessly, just praying for them, encouraging them, walking them out to the car, loading their car up with them, and just knew them all by name. And I was just like, what is going on? This is not about self, because my world up into that moment was all about self, and it felt like God was just taking a sledgehammer and just knocking down the walls of my life and being like, wake up, there's another world out there. It's not about you. And I loved that day, and I kept coming back to that food pantry, man.
Was that once a week? Saturday?
It was tough to get there.
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
And was this in Douglasville?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were going
still
there.
there today. Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Still there
Do you
today.
ever go back?
Oh, not only did I go back, I ended up on their leadership team a couple years later, and at Passion City, we adopted them as one of our partners.
I'm so
through Love
glad.
Atlanta. So
That's
full
so
circle
good.
for sure. That Frank and Pam Smith still run it.
Isn't that a beautiful kingdom story?
I mean, I tell you what, that day changed my life. I mean, because God was just warming me up to service, to local missions, to outreach. So I tell many people that I got saved through outreach because getting warmed up to the things of God and getting out of myself made me feel much more okay walking into the doors of that local church. And I did and got saved. Yeah, in December the 29th of 2009, after I partied all the way through a Christmas season and woke up on the floor of a rundown, halfway closed down hotel, looking like Parallel, like with the carpet, this disgusting carpet, seeing all these people do all these crazy things around me. I was like, I got to go home. It is time to go home. And I made my way home in about 2 days. It took a while. And that's when I saw my parents open the doors to me and be the prodigal father that was the most beautiful thing that wrecked my world, because I saw two people that I'd put through literal hell on earth.
And this
they were
was
to love
after
and accept
your
me.
experience at the food bank,
It was
or
all
before?
about the same time.
All everything's
Exactly.
moving at the
During
same
that ministry,
time.
I'm still 1 foot in,
Yeah,
1 foot
got it,
out,
got it, got
still
it.
partying,
Got
still,
it, got
trying
it.
to make it on Saturdays.
Got it.
But this was the final wake-up call.
The end of 2009.
Yeah, right.
And
Yep.
how I've asked you this before.
Yeah.
How in the world did you get a position at Passion City? That is just, I mean, that just doesn't happen without God, of course.
Well, early on after I got saved, it's interesting. When one of the pastors there led me to Christ, I said, all right, now I'm ready for rehab. And he said, you know what? There's something about you that's just different. Although rehab's a good option and was a good option for him, he said, I'm going to suggest something completely different. And man, that guy laid out this plan for me. Monday night accountability group, Tuesday morning Bible study, Tuesday afternoon this, Wednesday church, Thursday. I mean, every day had something different, and that was my program.
Yeah,
it really was. So in that I fell in love with service. I fell in love with a local church. Went to Bible school, Bible college, and just knew that God was calling me towards full-time ministry, and didn't know what that was going to look like. I started working in staffing and recruiting. And loved it. I started working on the recruiting side of the business for several years and helped run a recruiting team there, and then moved over to the business development side and started working with clients and helping them augment their business and look at their staff structure and see how I could help them be more efficient. And so I spent the next 4 years in staffing. Back in my crazy days, I'd worked for a couple staffing firms as well, so that was always kind of in my blood. I enjoyed, I enjoyed that type of business.
People recruiting, and building in those relationships.
Right. So I just served. I served my tail off, honestly. And not because I was trying to prove anything.
At this point, you're 30 years old?
30, 31, 32, 33, Okay. And just serving well and not expecting anything in return, just because so much had been done for me, because I'd so freely received from Christ. I just wanted to freely give. It was just in my DNA, and I saw how it changed my life, and I wanted to be that. I wanted to be that person. I wanted to play that role for other people as well. So if there was a way to serve in the local church or in the community, I was there.
That's great. That's great. So jumped into ministry full time with Passion at that point.
I came on as the pastor of local engagement. So at that point, Passion was globally focused and had a great footprint, but it built this local expression of faith and event organization, building a local church. But we said we were for God, for people, for the city, for the world, but we weren't maybe doing as much as we would like for the city. And so that was my job, and that was kind of my background. That's what I was walking in with, and so it was a great fit to come in and say, let's build out our local engagement ministry and start partnering with organizations like City of Refuge and Rattle and so that was, and so it was a niche for me. It felt good. So that's how I came onto the team. And then about 6 months in, there was some shifting in our organization a little bit, and I got asked to take on guest experience, and then got asked to take on community groups down the road, and care and spiritual formation, and you wear lots of hats.
Well, I remember when I first met you, you were doing the just really getting connected in the community, and then the next time it seemed like you had shifted to something different. So I recall you moving around, and that's what you do with good talent, and then you got to figure out where to use you.
I don't know.
No. It's like, this is broken. Where's Dana to fix it? I think it's probably what they said. So, well, that is great. So when did you know? When did you feel the Lord saying, "I'm tapping you, Dana. I want you in the kingdom to work. I want to use you to be, on a staff, to do this full time with your life." Right. When did you feel that calling?
I started watching some of the people in our local churches, Church of Chapel Hill back in Douglasville, because I had been so impacted by someone taking the time to speak into my life, to pastor me. I just started watching pastors, and I started watching the good qualities and the qualities that I thought, man, if I was ever doing that, I would want to do that differently. And I literally started a notes on each pastor, each leader in the church, because, and I do that with a lot of leaders, but that was something initially, and I just started to see this overlap of what they were good at and what I felt like God was giving me the the pasture to be good,
Yeah.
to encourage people.
So you're looking at
people.
their quality, that's the positive
Right,
qualities,
yeah,
and saying
100%.
moving in that direction.
I
Okay,
just watch them
that
influence.
is, and you literally took notes
Literally
on that.
took notes. Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was just wanting to draw out.
I like that.
So
It's
much
good.
of what I was seeing. I was seeing encouragement. I was seeing leadership. I was seeing sometimes, a lack of leadership, but for the most part, it was all good things that I was noticing and taking note on, and I was watching them influence people's lives. I was watching them do what I think is the most important thing in the whole entire planet, and that is lead people closer to Jesus. I mean, come on, is there anything better
Come
than
on.
that?
No.
There isn't.
No.
Right. Good
The answer to that is no.
Good answer. And there they were doing that really well. Whether that was having pulling someone to the side and having a pastoral conversation, whether that was just bringing a bright light and right there at the front of the front of the church and the front doors as people walked in, giving out hugs and high fives and just being a light into people's lives. I just watched because I was working the front doors a lot. They put me at the front doors, said, turn on your smile and, go for it. And I was a pretty happy guy, I was happy to be alive and pretty joyful, still like to think I am today. And I just watched people come in with their own despair and sadness and having a tough day, tough season. And I'd see them walk back out those same doors, joyful, excited about the rest of the day, looking forward to the week. And I was just like, man, what an experience. The local church is changing people's lives.
Yes.
I want to be a part of this.
Mm.
This is home for me.
Mm.
And I don't just want to attend. I want to sacrifice my life for the local church.
Praise the Lord. And the Lord continued to open up doors for you with that. We'll get into OM in a second. I want to, man, how have you balanced this? Just you're going all in with this with ministry now, and you've got the your own personal spiritual life. I know you shared with me you got a group of guys that pour into each other.
Yeah.
So you take your own personal growth seriously. I mean, we talked about that this morning. You do that with your group of guys. You worked out this morning. You're a disciplined guy. How do you make sure you carve out that time for your own spiritual journey, your own growth, physically, emotionally? Tell us about that.
Well, for me, I'll never forget, Pastor early on spoke this into me because I was young and trying to take on a bunch and new job and all the things. And he said, if you don't make an appointment, someone else is going to take that time. If you don't put that, you're good at making your appointments for work, right? You're good at making your appointments for the gym, right? You're good at making your appointments to be with friends and et cetera, et cetera. Well, you need to make an appointment to be with the Lord. You need to make an appointment to make sure that you're going up to the top of the mountain to see Him face to face.
Come on.
I never forgot that, And
make an
so
appointment.
I have a pretty built-out schedule on my phone where I really try to block that time and make sure that.
Do you block the same time every day?
Yes,
And
unless
what time?
there's some sort of nuances
I understand.
that are happening.
What is that time?
with my day.
Do you mind just sharing with us what
absolutely.
that time looks like?
It starts at 7:15.
7:15.
And it ends when God releases that time.
Yeah, I like it.
I have to, I'm not perfect at that by any means. I remember someone recently told me, it's like, how long do you spend in your quiet time? I gave him a kind of a generic answer.
Yeah.
And he said, I just felt like God's been leading me recently to not finish until He releases me.
That's a
great.
Whoa. That's good.
Well, what if that's 9:30 and you're when God releases me, then I'll be done.
Just don't have an 8:00 appointment.
Yeah.
keep it open.
That's true. That's right.
That is so good. And physically,
so I'm not great at it, but I try to carve out those mornings.
Yeah.
After I've already got up, breakfast, gym, and I usually try to do mine at work. Before anybody else is there.
Yeah, get there, open it up.
Close the office door, and
Yeah, that is.
Or keep the door open. Or
that is super. We're going to talk again. We are going to get to OM, I promise you. But I want to. What was your highlight at Passion City when you think about your ministry highlights and what you saw God do? What was a highlight for you while you were there?
Wow. Big question.
And that was not on my list of questions for you, but
a couple quick ones come to mind. I think being able to help create, start, and implement Love Atlanta.
Yes.
has been a big one. It's been a
what a kingdom impact that's made.
Yeah, it's been what an honor to be a part of that, and for that to I mean, Louis spoke into it from the very beginning, Pastor Louis and Bryson Vogeltance, as well, and both pastors that led and mentored me in different seasons. So I mean, to be able to take some of those ideas and early vision and to implement that, and to create something that's sustainable year over year, it's been awesome. It even played into probably another accomplishment, which has been this season. Before coming on to OM in August this month, this whole season of COVID it was a whirlwind for us. I mean, 16, 17, 18-hour days, sometimes working that 7th day of the week. It was just, especially the areas of the church I was helping to shepherd, which was care and outreach and groups. Yeah. We were going full speed ahead. Yeah. And so, unfortunate circumstances, but goodness, our team, what an accomplishment to be able to really help care for thousands of people, to help do outreach for thousands of people across the city. And we just said, hey, we're just going to move up Love Atlanta. Like, Love Atlanta doesn't have to be just in the summer. It's going to be all season long. And so, which is something that's been a dream for us, to make Love Atlanta year round, and now it's become that. And so that's a huge accomplishment. We started the US Conference, which was for a couple, thousand of our volunteers, we call door holders, and high-level training. Speakers come from, around the nation and help speak into our culture and to our people. And so, it's been awesome.
That's great. Well,
we've had a fun ride. It's been a great team. I've had some of the most amazing high-capacity leaders on my team.
World class leaders, man, to be surrounded in that environment there. Yeah. And you've taken that, what God has taught you, led you through there, and that dynamic ministry, to take you to another dynamic ministry, Operation Mobilization. And we're coming up on our hard break. When we get back, Dana, I want us to talk about who is OM.
Great.
What do they? Who are they? What do they do? How long have they been around? What are they known for? What do they do here? What kingdom impact have they made? And I want to hear how you fit into that puzzle and what you guys are planning on doing now in the kingdom.
Yeah. Right.
Friends, you're listening to Faith Works. We'll be right back.
Wishbone Fried Chicken don't keep secrets. No secret herbs and spices here. Wishbone Fried Chicken cooks chicken the old-fashioned way, just like Mama. Wishbone Fried Chicken has been a staple in Newnan since 1970. At Wishbone, you can get 3-piece dinners, 2-piece snacks, and even a dinner for the entire family. Open Monday through Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Wishbone Fried Chicken, 32 Jefferson Street, Newnan, 770-253-7061. Wishbone Fried Chicken, the best chicken around, period.
Hey, Mom and Dad, you want to teach your child biblical values that will last a lifetime? Why don't you check out the best-selling Adventure Bible? It's the #1 Bible for kids, allowing them to take an exciting journey through each chapter with full-color illustrations, memory verses, hands-on activities, and more. The Adventure Bible is now available in 4 translations. It's the perfect Bible to encourage your children to stay in Scripture. Do you know at AdventureBible.com you'll find over 700 free games, activities, teaching resources, and more. Visit AdventureBible.com today.
Hey, this is Ryan with RNS Mornings right here on 99.1 FM, The Key, WQEE. Due to the current pandemic and social distancing, many people will be unable to attend their favorite sporting events this season. WQEE management and staff are asking for the local businesses in our area to help sponsor our efforts in bringing these sporting events to our community live right here on the radio and streaming from our website. WQEE is here to help keep our community healthy and safe. Your sponsorship makes that possible. 678-673-6318. Call Call today.
In 1604, King James I gathered 47 scholars who began translating the ancient scriptures, completing them in 1611 with what we know today as the King James Version of the Bible. For over 400 years, the King James Version has been the trusted translation for millions of believers, capturing the majesty of God's Word and shaping the worship of generations. Christians have turned to the King James Version of the Bible for faithful and beautiful renderings of God's Word. Its rich tradition has guided generations of pastors, authors, and scholars, while its relevant language continues to shape our words today. The scriptures come alive as you read through the Bible in the beautiful language of the King James Version. Finding a KJV Bible you can trust should be just as easy as trusting the KJV itself. At thekingjamesbible.com, you'll find a tool built to make searching for a new quality KJV Bible as easy as possible, no matter your needs. Whether you need large print study helps or premium leather bindings, you can find it and more at thekingjamesbible.com.
Hello, I'm Game Warden Charles Fallon, Georgia DNR Law Enforcement. Is spending your days outdoors protecting Georgia's natural resources and serving its citizens sound inviting? If so, you might have what it takes to join the state's oldest law enforcement agency and become a Georgia Game Warden. If you are interested in wearing the gray and green, visit gadnrle.org and click Careers to see the minimum qualifications and application process. Thank you.
Through the shortages and the panic, how about extra food and a fun, safe family activity? Plant a garden with Heaven's Harvest heirloom, non-GMO, non-hybrid seeds. Hearty, American, non-chemically addicted seeds that grow fast. Plant as much as 3 acres with our popular bucket filled with over 35 Mylar packed varieties, over $1,500 at the hardware store, but from us, less than a tenth the price. This is what we do at Heaven's Harvest. Gather these amazing seeds, vegetables, tomatoes, real tomatoes. You remember the taste of those fresh heirloom tomatoes. Freshness, hardiness. You don't need a green thumb. Your own producing garden for your family in as little as 2 weeks. These are select, hand-picked seed varieties, so please call us now before we're out of stock. HeavensHarvest.com. 800-516-4773. Heaven's Harvest.
Tune in every Tuesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison. Pastor Ellison has the privilege of interviewing leaders in Newnan who are making a kingdom impact, modeling for our community that faith does indeed work. So don't miss an episode of Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison, Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., only on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key.
Friends, this is Jimmy Ellison. We're back on Faith Works talking to my good buddy Dana Brennan, who is with Operation Mobilization. And I don't even know your title at ODM. What's the title there?
Vice President of Mobilization.
Vice President of Mobilization.
A little anxiety when I
That's
say
impressive, man. Vice President. I've always, Ryan, I always wanted to be a vice president. I mean, have you ever wanted to be a vice president, Ryan?
Yeah. Vice President Jim.
I could see that. I can see that right in writing there. Well, tell me.
You're president. You're more presidential.
Tell me about your role as VP at OM. What is your role there, and about OM? What do you guys do?
Sure. Yeah, so my role is to mobilize the North American Church, because we want to see Jesus followers using their marketable skills as professional marketplace workers all around the world. And we believe that God has not just called a select few to go do missions around the world, but we feel that God's called all of us to be able to have to be able to go and take our job with us, to be able to go and make an impact around the world, to be able to use what God's intrinsically created us to do and to do well, and to worship through our work.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. And we talked, OM's been here 20 plus years in Tyrone.
Yeah, right.
Came from New Jersey.
Yes, right.
There. And so how long have they been around total?
Yeah, 60 years, I think.
Yeah.
Been around for a long time. And have sent thousands and thousands and thousands of
Yeah.
missionaries all over the world and have done incredible work,
Yeah.
have a huge resume around the world, and we honor that, and that's amazing and incredible.
Yeah,
There's few
absolutely.
mission organizations that can say that.
Been
which
around
has
that
been
long
awesome.
and that consistent.
Oh man, it's awesome. I mean, the people are amazing. It feels like family. I mean, I've been there for 4 weeks now, and I got welcomed in right away.
Yeah.
Just a great culture there. We're just noticing as we look across the landscape that the amount of people that are unreached. Have you heard this number? It's crazy.
No,
It was
go ahead.
2 billion, now it's 3 billion. 3 billion people.
3
that
billion?
unreached that do not have solid access to the gospel around the world.
Because there's 7 billion now in the world?
Yeah. And we're talking about 60,000 people every day are getting added to that number. Those are people that will live, will die, and not have, not see the gospel lived out in other believers around them. I mean, they may get a tract dropped off.
Yeah.
They get a box of tract, may get
Right,
a box
right.
of Bibles. There
Yeah.
might be, evangelist that comes through in another language, not in their culture. There may be some of that happens, but truly not being able to see Jesus lived out in a community of other believers, or see even in another believer, or not have access to a local church. 3 billion people around the world. And
That's astonishing. I had not heard that number.
and I'm just not okay with that. And we're not
Yeah,
okay with that. That was some
absolutely.
of what I was stirring as we thought about transitioning to OM. It's just it's a big number. It's a big task, and I'm up to try to help change that
Yeah.
the best that I can. Because I mean, the amount of missionaries that are going vocationally, going around the world, that number is going down. Support raising is going down.
Yeah.
Access is becoming more and more difficult. Visas, especially in this season, it's getting harder.
For
and
ministry.
harder. Yeah, for ministry.
Yeah, ministry visas.
However,
Tough.
on the work side, there's actually a talent shortage. So this is a tailwind to this movement to recruit
Yeah.
and place marketplace professionals around the world. So a tailwind that we have going with us is there's a talent shortage. And there's companies that are saying that maybe 45% of companies that around the world are saying that they have a talent shortage. They are looking for more people, and many of which are looking for Americans to come and help fill positions for them. Also, it's interesting to note that there's this generational shift. 71% of millennials are saying if offered a job somewhere internationally, that they would take it if they knew that was an opportunity.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
And these are 35 to 18 to 35-year-olds.
Correct.
What is that? Is that
Correct.
about
Yes,
the right age?
Right. Wanting
would
to
go.
explore
7 out of 10
career opportunities.
These are
internationally.
these are believers too, or this is across. It had to be
just across the board. They're
Really?
wanting to explore opportunities globally, wanting to go. And probably being young and out of college and have this skill
no
set,
spouse,
wanting to
no
use
spouse
that.
at this point. Yeah,
Sure.
no
Yeah,
kids,
yeah.
spouse,
Yep.
free to go.
Free to
That's
go. So we want to
exciting.
help resource people to do that.
So you're recruiting those people? Is that what you're
Correct,
doing? Okay,
correct.
your area.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're still, and people are still contacting OM, a lot that are saying, hey, I want to live vocationally. I feel called to, I feel called to
Whatever. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia. I feel called to.
Yeah. And you have point persons in those
Correct.
countries.
Yes. We have
that-
we have
that-
fields
that-
all over the world.
Yep. And they have relationships with businesses in their areas. Is that how
Yes,
that works?
for the most part. But
Okay.
yeah. So we have people out in the field that are doing incredible work, really, really incredible work. And so
how
we
does
want to continue to love on them, resource
Yeah,
them, because
yeah.
people are feeling that calling. But what we also want to make sure that everyone understands is that the calling to go take the gospel to the unreached people of the world is not just a select few. It's not just God called certain people,
Right.
But God's called all of us to
Yeah.
live out a life on mission
Yeah.
together, and it's a way of
Yeah.
life. I mean, it's how we were wired. It's a purpose that we have. It's
Jesus
inside
said
of
go.
us. He did.
Yes.
He did. And so we
Yes.
want to help people go, but we want them to be able to take their job with them.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great. And biblically, there were not professional.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
the New
that's
Testament,
right.
in the New Testament, there were not professional
Right.
pastors
Yeah.
per se.
Yeah.
They were bivocational,
Yeah.
and so that's That's a beautiful approach. Help me understand. So someone goes to, you mentioned Saudi Arabia. They go to Saudi Arabia. What does it look like, or can you tell me a story of how a person goes to another country working as a nurse, as a physician, or whatever?
Sure.
How does that go into work in that arena move towards leading a person to Christ, walking with Jesus? What is that? Can you give me some examples of how that plays out?
Yes. Ultimately, what we're wanting to happen is for people to look at that Jesus follower and say, and ask, as Scripture says, what's the hope that lies within you?
Okay.
What is it that you have that we don't have? So a story is, true story, a nurse was placed at a hospital in the Middle East.
Okay.
And she quickly gained the favor of some of the people in her floor and in her department, and was doing this training program and was just serving with excellence, was doing her job really, really well. And quickly over time, she started to gain more and more influence. And then the CEO of this hospital noticed her and noticed what was happening and saw how this department was going above and beyond and was doing much better than some of the other departments, and said, what's going on? And he got the report that it's this lady, and she's developed this training and development program, and she's really built this team. And so he then takes her on as like a right-hand person, promotes her up.
It's Joseph and Pharaoh, man.
Exactly. And then she becomes a right-hand person, and she has influence there, and she's able to share the message of Christ, and she's able to lead people to Jesus. And it's been an incredible story, and there's story after story after story of those type of things happening.
So she gets in there, she's working hard.
Yep, working with excellence.
People see that difference, that's change.
Right.
Are these all English-speaking people primarily, or are people being trained in foreign languages?
It's us sending people from the United States, but us also helping people move from other countries to countries as well.
So when somebody goes to Saudi Arabia,
yes,
do they speak the native language, or do they speak English?
Yes, English, but we also hope to train them in the native language as well, because we want people to be on the ground and credible.
Yeah.
That's the thing about sometimes versus the missionary. Being kind of dropped in, the Western missionary being dropped into the mission field, and sometimes they can have a good message but lose credibility in that message. But we can have someone that's placed there that people don't say, hey, why are you here? What's your job? Why are you? I've heard stories of sometimes people trying to be in the fabric of the community, but people are like, but you don't work here. Like, what is your job? Are you guys, you don't work during the day. You only come out in the evenings. Are you guys up to something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard a lot of those stories. A lot of missionaries have had to, be on their back pedal of like, oh, this is what we do, and they're doing great work, but they're sometimes not have the credibility in the streets. And so we hope by placing these marketplace professionals, and what we're seeing is they immediately have credibility. They're in the community, in the fabric of the economy, and they have a message that isn't only good, but it's credible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you've only been there, you've only been there weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
So I know Dana pretty well, friends, and you probably got some goals already set. You probably got where you're going. What's coming down there? What's a win for Dana?
Sure.
As VP of OM.
Right. In the next few years, we want to see 1,000 of these workers being sent from the United States over to countries around the world.
And we're talking national. So you're when you recruit, we're not talking about recruiting out of Georgia or the Southeast. This is a national recruiting.
Correct.
How do you get the word out to people in Washington State about OM? How does that work?
You're going to help us.
Okay, tell me how. Tell me about that.
Through this show. No, we our CEO Andrew Scott wrote a book called Scatter.
Yeah.
I would highly suggest.
Yeah.
Louis helped do a forward on it as well. Our pastor did, and I would suggest anyone pick that book up and read it, get the audiobook, or and really kind of dive into that. And so that message has been brewing now for about 4 years, and it really is starting to catch on. And I know that at the missions conference a couple of years ago, Francis Chan's been picking up this message as well.
Oh yeah, this is his.
Yeah. It's a sweet spot for sure. And
Did you say Platt is also promoting it?
Yeah. And
well,
so
those guys.
This word's starting to get out, and so it's this concept of scatter. And we've started a website called scatterglobal.com.
Okay.
Scatterglobal.com. And so our goal is to be able to bring value to every single person that reaches out to us, to be able to give them good advice, to bring them into our funnel, if you will, to be able to advise them, give them good global advice as to next steps of what this could look like for their life, to take their job globally to the unreached people of the world, and to create these vibrant communities of Jesus followers, and to make disciples, and what that looks like for them. So our goal is 1,000 of those workers by 2024, but I think we can do it sooner than that. I think once the word gets out, people are going to be raising their hands. And
I think that.
So at the same effort, we're really going after people. We're also going after companies and organizations internationally to be able to place people.
That's I mean, you got to have that.
You got to have both.
You can't just do one without the other.
Got to have both. Yeah.
So, how are you guys funded? How's OM funded? I know you got support from churches and there's individuals, but there's some like somebody's listening today. They're 22. They just graduated. They got a degree in whatever, finance or whatever, and they say, you know what, this is something I'm interested in. I could see myself going. When they go to an overseas country, they get a job. Do they tithe back to OM somehow? Is there some type of relationship with them? How does that work?
No, they don't have to. Okay. Yeah, in fact, we kind of untether that type of relationship just for the safety of that individual.
So you're really just sending people out and parachutes.
Well, we're also providing community for them. That's a big part that we're also still trying to figure out what that looks like. Connect them to our field leaders, because OM's obviously around the world, and other organizations are in some of these fields where we may not be, and local churches that are on the ground, and other people. I mean, we're trying to get on the backs of where people are flowing right now, and where people are going from United States to different countries, and what countries are letting people in. So we hope with all of that we can build this community and network of other believers that people can do life with on the ground. But no, man, funding comes through churches, partnerships, individual givers and donors. People are giving to OM, and that's helping. People are also giving to Scatter Global, to this concept.
So Scattered Global is a branch of OM. Is it like it's
correct?
Yeah, I know it's part of OM, but it's not a separate 501c.
That's correct.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's part of it.
Yep,
okay.
Right.
That is 1,000.
Yes.
In less than 4 years.
Yes.
You ready for that, man?
I'm ready.
I believe you signed up. You said, "Here I am."
Hopefully, we can do it much quicker than that.
And I think you will. I think you will. Yeah. So you've got that. Is that your primary focus? What else are you working on at OM, or is that, which is a huge task?
Yeah,
I don't want to make it sound like, you're doing this on the side. But what else you got going on?
Yeah, in that, I think it's trying to bring our teams all together so that we can all focus together in the right direction, because OM has gone a certain direction for a long time, and this is a little bit of a new direction, but we're still going both of these directions, and we really want to bring everyone together to be able to have central goals and central focus, to be able to help any person that reaches out to OM, whatever they feel like God's put on their heart, whatever they feel like they're wanting to do with their life. We want to be able to provide value to them. And
Absolutely.
be able to help them along and give them next steps. Have those kingdom conversations right from the very beginning. Find out what it is that's inside of them that's stirring.
Boy,
and then be able
doesn't
to put
that
them
fire you up? I mean, you're sitting here talking. I'm going, hey, let's go, man. Let's go. So, last question.
Yes.
Listening as a 23-year-old male, female, and they're right now. The Holy Spirit is nudging them right now. They're hearing you. They're nudging. The Spirit's nudging. What are you telling them? What are you saying to them? What word? What's next for them? What word of encouragement do you have for them?
Listen and follow.
Listen and follow.
I mean, so many times I can think over my Christian life, and I had been doing this a long, long time, but since God radically changed my life, there's been so many moments where I've listened, and it's been clear, and I didn't follow, and I didn't follow through. And there's been a lot of moments where I listened and I did follow. And so I would say if that stirring is in anyone's heart, no matter age, race, background, doesn't matter. If that stirring's in there, it's time to listen and to follow. And I'd love to I'd love to tell every single person to reach out to our team and let us just have a conversation
Yeah.
with you. Let us help you process that.
Yeah.
As people that, a team, I mean, it's a great team that I get to be on. People that have been around the world in missions, vocationally, taking their job here and there, and know the world, know the climate, know what you're up against, know the wins and the challenges and all of it, and would love to be able to walk someone through that process. So I would say don't hesitate. Don't think, well, I'm not sure if God really called me, or is it, let's just have a conversation.
Begin the conversation.
And because we're all called we're all called
Yeah.
to build the local church all over the world and to be a Jesus follower in our workplace and on mission together. So I reach out to scatterglobal.com, reach out to our team.
Yeah.
And we'd love
I was going to ask you, give us that. So Scatterglobal.
Scatterglobal.com.
SCATTER global.com.
Yes.
Scatterglobal. Hey, I'm a product of Fayette County education, man.
Yeah.
I've got a degree from Emory University. Just saying.
Hello.
Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
So you've got scatterglobal.com.
Sure. Check out the OM website as well.
It's OM, isn't it?
Yep.
OM.
.org.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was something very clean like that. OM.
OMUSA.
OMUSA.
Is more North America.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so go there,
OMUSA.org.
check that out. And so, Dana, what a gift to have you with us.
Oh,
today.
thanks, Jim. It's been an honor and a privilege for sure.
Oh man, and I personally love you. I love how you've loved my family, my boys, and
You have a great family.
Yeah,
You're a great father.
Very well. I try. I want you to know, I certainly have got my list of mistakes
Yeah,
and
me
things
too.
I would have done differently.
Me
But
too.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
I do love my family, and we love you, man.
Yeah.
Just grateful
Love
for
the
you.
Ellisons. Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to hopefully you can come back in a year, give us an
Yeah, sure.
update,
Yeah.
tell us how Scatter Global is going, and
Right.
And we'll be praying for you until
Okay.
then, friend.
Thank you.
Friends, you have been listening to FaithWorks today, and what a great conversation with Dana Brennan. Do check out him at omusa.org as well as scatterglobal.com. And listen, if the Lord is nudging you, don't wait. Do make that call to have that conversation, and you'll see how the Lord will use that to open up doors for you. Friends, take care. God bless, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for tuning in for this edition of Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison of the Noonan City Church, located at 17 First Avenue here in Noonan. Noonan City Church, transforming lives for Jesus' sake. Join us every Sunday morning at 9 a.m., 10:30, and 6:30 service. Until next time, have a blessed week.